Hello, welcome to It's Your Life. I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley, and we got an absolutely fantastic show coming your way today. And we got this extraordinary guest. She's a lawyer of many hats. She came from a family of lawyers, and she's just doing some great things out there. I mean, I saw her on one of my friends' shows, and I said, hey, I gotta have her on my show because all the great things that she's doing, the things that she was talking about, I believe that we need to share that with more and more people. So I'm excited to have her on. Not let Michelle introduce her in a few minutes, but I'm also excited to have you guys tuning in to the show today because we're gonna get off into a lot of great things. And secondly, I want to thank everybody. Our book was released yesterday. It's doing extremely well. Hoping to hit bestseller today, but we'll see. you know, a black man point of view, mind, body, and soul. So if you haven't purchased your copy right now, we got the ebook dropped down to 99 cents. And I think it's going to be that way for a couple more days. So, a black man, point of view, mind, body, and soul. And it's, I think it's not just because I wrote it, but I think it's a good piece, a good roadmap on things that we need to be doing in life and bringing everybody together. Whether you black, white, pink, gold, or purple, it's all about love. How you doing, Dr. Cooley? You know I can't even start a show without you coming in. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I had the privilege of speaking with our guest today before the show, and she's amazing. I mean, she's down to earth. She's doing things. She's doing things. She's an entrepreneur. She's a go getter, and she has something in common with you, James. Military background. We
Oh
didn't
well,
even
you
talk
know.
about that yet. So we're just really excited to have her on the show today, and our show is not enough to do her justice, but we're going to have a great conversation and hit the high points and just let her just educate and speak to the audience about her career path and all the great things that she is doing.
Wow, I'm excited about this. And wherever you're watching this at, whether you're watching on E360 television, Transfer TV, YouTube, or over 30 live streaming network, if you want to be part of this conversation, all you have to do is go to the comments, ask any question that you might have, and I promise you, our great guest today is going to get you an answer. Hey, Michelle, can you do the pleasures and the privilege of telling our viewers and our listeners the title of the show, purpose of the show, and introduce this absolutely fantastic guest?
Most definitely. So the title of the show is basically a sit down with serial entrepreneur and attorney Rachel King, and we're going to get to know her background as a military veteran, as an attorney, as an entrepreneur, and like I said, we're going to talk about her experience being part of the military, her successful career as an attorney, and how she built her law firm, being an entrepreneur, and the challenges and the rewards along the way, and talk about the various law areas that she specializes in. So let's talk a little bit about Rachel King. Again, she's a serial entrepreneur starting at the age of 12. Her work ethic and drive at an early age led to 7 years of military service. Utilizing the discipline skills, she moved forward, owning multiple businesses and acquired the desire to continue expanding her talents. The passion for law was instilled in her from birth, from her father's law career, so she followed in his footsteps, opening up her law firm in 2014. The combination of entrepreneurship, discipline training, and understanding of the law allows Rachel to be the rising leader of California, Arizona, Texas, and Kentucky, with her firm specializing in business law, family law, estate law, real estate law, and growing. Alongside her impressive career, she is a proud wife and mother and is loved by her community for her continued service and outreach. Please welcome to the show, Rachel King.
How you doing,
Thank you.
Rachel? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Just like I said, ever since I saw you on Paula's show, I've been excited, especially when you accepted to come on. So how are you doing today? How are you doing?
I'm doing so well. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
And we're excited. First of all, can you tell our viewers and our listeners where you at and where you grew up and some other things that you just love about your community, you love that you're doing, and then this you got the floor for like 2 minutes. So you got
I live in Southern California. So actually my law firm, the physical location is in Southern California, but I practice throughout California, Arizona. I expanded into Texas and Kentucky, and everything that I do here really works together. I live on a farm, which many people probably wouldn't expect, but as I approach my legal career, being a mom, being a business owner, I really try and have a balanced life that can help my clients, how I practice, and then the areas of law that I've ended up in. How I ended up here still sometimes shocks me. You know, I grew up, like you guys said, in a family that practiced law. My dad is an attorney, and I kind of knew that I wanted to be an attorney for my whole life, but I wasn't ready when I was 18 years old to go to school. That I found that out quite quickly. So I joined the military, got my degree in the military, used my GI Bill to pay for my law school, which was fabulous. And then when I got out of law school, I really sat back and I thought, remember at that time I was a mother of 3 and married, and I thought, what kind of lawyer do I want to be? What kind of life do I want, and how do I create it? And so I started my law firm, and kind of the rest is history, as they say.
Wow. So you come from a family of lawyers, and your dad, just like you just mentioned. What lesson did your parents instill in you that you still live by today, other than the lawyer portion of it?
My parents are divorced, first of all. They got divorced when I was very young. Before I was even 3 years old, they both remarried, and they've been with the same people since. So I think I have a unique experience that I don't feel really like I came from divorced parents, because I came from very two solid familial relationships. But I learned through that to be resilient. I learned what it took to work together. I had sisters on both sides. I did have split time. And I think the lessons that I learned being able to navigate different households, seeing how it is to be the child of a divorced parent, also growing up in two completely different socioeconomic households with completely different morals and values, really helped shape me and helped me learn early what I thought was important, what I thought maybe wasn't so important, and how gave me a different perspective on maybe the kind of person that I wanted to become. The takeaways, right? That, okay, I'm going to do this. Oh, I'm never going to do that. So I think that's probably my biggest takeaway from my upbringing. My parents, though, have taught me hard work. All 4 of them, I have 4, right? All 4 of them have worked really hard and have supported me through everything that I've done, though I know, because they told me, that they thought some of my decisions, they just shook their head at and thought, oh gosh, what is she doing? But ultimately, everything worked out.
Wow. So I heard Michelle chatting with you back in the green room about when you were 7 and when you were 12, the work ethics that you put forward. So if you had to, what adjective would best describe Rachel King and why?
Resilience, without a doubt. I am one of the most resilient people that I know. I actually think that no matter what happens, whether it's a challenge or an opportunity, that I am very, very good at looking at the circumstances, adjusting what needs to be done, and making the best of the situation no matter what. So I say that because I think about it a lot, and I do my gratitudes every day, and being resilient is the one that comes up that I'm most grateful for about myself.
Oh, that is absolutely fantastic. So you left and you joined the military when you was 18. Um,
I did.
what prompted that decision? Where you had the legacy as attorneys and the family, but Rachel said, "I'm not ready, so I'm going in the military." So, how was that experience, and what takeaways did you get from from that led you on the path that you're on today?
When I graduated high school, I thought, I want to go to college. So I did. I enrolled in college. And I think the semester started, probably mid-August. By the beginning of September, and I know this because my first year of college was September 11th. So shortly around, either before or after September 11th, I already recognized that I wasn't going to school nearly as often as I was supposed to. I didn't want, I was 18. I wanted to be in charge of my own self. I thought I knew best. I didn't think that you actually needed to go to class for college. But that quickly changed. My parents said, so you're done. We're not paying for this anymore. And I was forced to make a very quick decision. My mother actually kicked me out of the house, and I didn't have anywhere to go. So I snuck into the garage and slept on camping gear and then left early in the morning. She didn't know about that story till probably 5 years ago. But all of this, I thought, what are my options? As an 18-year-old with a high school diploma, there wasn't a lot, even back then, to support myself. I was familiar with the military. I had a lot of military friends. And actually, the reason I joined was because I said, okay, if I can sign a contract with the Army, I chose the Army, then I bet I can go back to my mom and say, hey, Mom, I've got a contract. I'm going to basic training in 2 weeks. Can I crash here until then? And I was putting my money on the fact that she would say yes. And she did say yes. So that's how I ended up in the Army, is I didn't really have many other options at the time.
Wow. Sometimes as parents, and your parent as well, sometimes we have to make the tough decision. But the decisions I believe that we make is geared toward, okay, I got 4 kids myself, son. They are going to eventually wake up and get on the right track, or whatever that might mean. So you was in the Army, and you were, I think, you paralegal communication specialist. Tell our viewers, listeners, a little bit first of all, tell them what that is, and tell them a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I started in the Army as a communication specialist. In the military, they have very fancy terms for very mundane tasks. Basically, we were in charge of making sure that there was internet and telephone communications, radio communications when we were out in a field environment or a war environment. I was first stationed in Alaska, so that was a very unique, pretty amazing experience that I would never want to do again, but I learned a lot. It was a fabulous opportunity. From there, I was stationed at Fort Hood, Texas. That's where I met my husband, and I I was attached to a combat support hospital, again, doing the same kind of idea. When I got out of Texas, then I actually became a paralegal within the Army, went to the paralegal school at JAG. But at that point, I was already on my trajectory to go to law school. So I'd already submitted law school applications. I decided to reroute my Army career because I wanted to just see if the law was going to really stick before I invested all of the money in law school. I did not act as a paralegal in the military nearly as long as I was in communications and signal. Wow.
This is so exciting. This is so exciting. We're going to take a station break, but if you want to be part of this conversation with this great guest, all you have to do is just go, whichever platform you're watching or listening to it on, just go to the comments, ask any questions that you like. I promise you, we'll get you an answer. We'll be back shortly after the break. Is your life? I'll see you after the break. Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. I got my absolutely fantastic guest here, attorney Rachel King, and just sitting back, just doing the introduction, the first segment. I mean, I'm thrilled and I'm tickled pink because she's sharing some things, especially about the military. I spent 23 years in the military myself, and I went in as an enlisted guy and retired as an officer over the period of time of getting in, you know, getting on track and trying to figure out what I wanted to do in life. But it's funny, life, you don't know, and sometimes it just boom, you get that aha moment, and you know exactly what you're going to do from that point on. So I tell you, our viewers out there, listeners, I know you're locked in already. If you want to be part of the conversation, just go to the comments wherever you're watching that and ask this great guest any questions that you like. So Rachel, you come from a family of attorneys. Your father's an attorney. Anybody else in your family attorneys as well?
My cousin is an attorney also in Southern California. He's older than me. He is probably closer to like an uncle age. And then since I became an attorney, one of my younger cousins has become an attorney, and she's one of the associate district attorneys in San Diego. So and then my daughter says that she wants to be an attorney. So who knows? We might end up having quite a few attorneys throughout the generations.
What is it about that fascinates you about being an attorney? I went to law school myself, but I didn't finish. What fascinates you about some of the things that fascinate you about being an attorney? Because you know how it's done. You've been doing this since 2014, I think, right now.
My perspective on why I wanted to be an attorney or what I like about it has truly changed. Like I said, when I was a teenager, I decided I wanted to be an attorney. At that time, that was where you either were, like, to be successful, you were a doctor or a lawyer. And I can't do math very well. So my only choice was a lawyer. And then, of course, I was raised with a lawyer. At that time, I was very attracted to all of the things that a teenager would be attracted to. I was attracted to the amount of money that could be made. I was attracted to the power. I was attracted to the influence. I was attracted to all of the stuff you see on TV. And that's probably what got me there, along with the connection that I had with my dad and seeing how it was done. But a lot of that also came because I saw the power that he had. I saw the money that he made. I saw the influence that he had. And so that's where it started. Now we fast forward to 2023. I've been doing this for a while. I own a law firm. I've practiced and tried many different areas of law. And now the reason that I really like to be a lawyer and that I'm proud to be a lawyer is that I get to solve problems. In every area of my life, want to be the problem solver. If I can make it better for you, I just want to. And so I really try and bring that to my practice. And I found a way to kind of serve my own selfish interests, which are to be, to solve people's problems through my practice. Every single person that walks through my door or calls is faced with one of the most challenging situations they're going to have to deal with in their entire life, hands down. It doesn't matter if it's you're being sued for breach of contract or you're getting divorced or a family member passed away. A lawsuit is very stressful. So every single time I'm given the opportunity to say, it's okay, there's a solution. Let's show you what the solution and empower people to make their own decision on how they want to solve the problem. It doesn't always get solved. They don't always do it, but at least I'm able to show them the path and give them the tools so that they can make the decision on how they want this to pan out, how they want to play. So I really like being able to provide solutions to people where they think there is nothing, no hope and no opportunities and no way forward.
So that is fantastic. I want to show our viewers and our listeners one of your videos, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about all of these things. Okay, here we go.
Being a lawyer is something that I wanted to do since I was itsy bitsy. I grew up in a family of lawyers. My dad is a lawyer. My cousin is a lawyer. And watching them be able to solve client problems and really how I felt as a child change other people's lives made me want to become a lawyer. It's really important that when our clients come to us at the firm, they are given a designated team to work with them on their case. And so with that, we've worked really hard to provide specialized people that will work closely with our clients so that they can always get their answers to their questions, they can always be involved in their case, and we can always consistently move their case forward. My favorite part about being a lawyer is having clients come into my office with something that they think is completely insurmountable, and I get to show them that there is a solution, that there is a way out, and that we can solve their problem.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So Rachel, so you opened up your firm in 2014. Was that a tough decision to make, or did you have to think about it real hard, or you already had your mindset that this is what I'm going to do?
It was always it's always a tough decision anytime you go out and try and start your own business. But I think it was a natural and maybe the only option that I had, given, again, the fact that I was raised among entrepreneurs. My dad had his own firm. When I passed the bar, I was already married with 3 children. And I was at a different point in my life where I'd been away. We'd gone through deployments. We'd lived in different states. I really was looking for something that was going to allow me to have the work-life balance that I needed at that point in my life, to allow me to be a mom and a wife and maybe settle down in a way that I hadn't been able to at all as an adult. So when I was thinking about whether I should go get a job at a law firm, which didn't sound appealing at all. That's one of the reasons I got out of the Army, was because I didn't like to get told what to do. So that didn't sound very attractive. I also was really torn with how much time I was going to be dedicating to my job at a law firm. You hear the stories, and most of them are true, where a brand new attorney gets hired at a firm, makes a lot of money, but is basically giving them, 24 hours a day. That was not an option. So as I was figuring out what I was going to do as a lawyer, the only choice that I had was to create a law firm where I could practice law the way I wanted to practice. I could be the kind of lawyer that I wanted to be. My dad had heavy influence on what he believed ethically and morally lawyers should do. And I wanted to bring that to my firm. I also wanted it to be okay to wear jeans or to not answer the phone at noon because I had a school performance for one of my kids. So collectively, it was a hard choice, but it was the only one. It was a lot of work, and I'm so fortunate that I get to say that it's been one of the most amazing things that I've ever done, and I'm almost as proud of it as I am of my children.
Wow. Were there any challenges in the beginning of being an entrepreneur? Just running your own firm, or everything just once you did it, it was just smooth sailing?
I'd be hard pressed to find any business owner that says it was smooth sailing right out the gate. This was not my first business that I started. So I'd started businesses since I was 12. I'd had a few of them. My husband and I had started DIY barbecue before I started my firm, and that was a very successful company. So it wasn't my first rodeo at business ownership, but I stuck with the things that I knew were tried and true. I knew that you didn't need a lot of money to start a law firm or to start a business. So I started my law firm with $1,800. That's the entirety of my savings account at the time. And I treated it as though I was employed full-time. So I wasn't employed full-time. I didn't have any clients, but every day I went out and I worked for 8 hours, whether that was marketing or telling people that I was an attorney. When I did finally start getting cases, doing the attorney work, it was really difficult to, the obvious things, to just keep at it when you're not making any money. But it was even more challenging. Probably the hardest thing I had to overcome was I was a very young attorney to start her own firm. So I got a lot of pushback on that within the legal field. And felt like I had to keep proving myself. I also, though I don't like to admit it sometimes, I'm a millennial. And so I really brought, and I'm a true millennial, right? So I really brought this idea of millennial attitude into the practice of law at a time where it really wasn't being very well received. And I was, again, it wasn't accepted right away. So I had those kind of things to overcome, and it hurt my ego a lot. And it was a huge learning curve. I was very, very true to myself. And the entire time, I think the reason I was able to carry on was because I really went back to, I started this firm to do it my way. So I'm going to do it my way, even if that means I trip and fall, or even if that means another attorney tells me that I'm never going to be successful because I'm wearing pink, or whatever it is, right? I'm going to do it my way. And then I'm even going to prove that my way can be successful. And here we are, I have.
Wow. You know, I like how you say, hey, I'm going to do it my way. This is what I got out the Army to do. And once it seemed like you're the type of person, once you focus in on doing something, I'm talking about, you're going to be the best at whatever you choose to do. That's the sense that I'm getting from here. And failure is not an option. It doesn't seem like that. The attitude, like, I'm not going to fail at this. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to start out with just $1,800 and I'm going to build me an empire.
And you know what? Failure is not an option, right? This is a fake it till you make it. One of the things that is like my favorite takeaway from my military is fake it till you make it. So I do that a lot, right? I do that in everything. I'm going to fake it until I make it. Failure is not an option. At the same time, you have to learn to pivot, and maybe I'm not going to go down a path that obviously isn't working. I'm going to pivot and adjust fire and do different things, but it's so that I can continue to be successful. And I actually credit a lot of my thought process and how I am able to continue to be successful with a lot of the things that we learned in the military, and really some of the very basic concepts that they teach you in basic training.
Well, you're absolutely right. We've got to take a station break, but I can't wait to come back to pick up this conversation. It's so exciting. And I tell you, our viewers out there, I know I see it's a lot of you guys are watching the show. Don't be afraid. If you got a question, why don't you go and just ask attorney Rachel King any question that you have. I mean, she might even give you some free advice on over here, you know, when you ask the question. But I tell you what, we're gonna take a station break, but we're gonna come back with a lot more of Rachel King. It's Your Life. I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley. We'll see you shortly after the break.
Really get a chance to know who you are. And once you know who you are, you truly know who you are, love who you are. Love who you are. You're a masterpiece. Love who you are. Love who you were born to be. Love me some me. That's what I'm talking about. When you leave high school, you gotta know today or tomorrow, hopefully today, what your plans are. Hopefully, there is no bad decision unless there is no plan. Create, collaborate, commit with confidence. Commit with what? Commit with what? In everything that you do.
Hello, welcome back to It's Your Life, and got this absolutely magnificent guest here that I'm telling you, just having conversation, but she educating all of us, and we haven't even got to the law portion of it yet, which we're about to get to right now, but she educating us on a lot of these things. There's things that we need to know in life, things that she went through and learned, and which prepared her to the path that she's on right now. And I tell you, um, we wherever we start from might not always be where we're gonna finish up, because somewhere she mentioned the word pivot. Somewhere you have to pivot when things are not going the right way. I wrote a book called My Path, and going down that path, and basically, real quickly, Robert Frost wrote poems called "The Road Most Traveled, Road Less Traveled," and somewhere during that path, if you're just walking straight, not knowing where you're going, you're gonna come to a fork in the road, just like you said. You got to figure out: do I continue to go straight because things ain't working right here, going straight, or do I pivot? Most people go straight, and they end up because they're gonna fall off the road because it's gonna end. When you pivot, it's a whole different world out there, and then you have to really learn some things. So, but I enjoyed that saying that you were saying when you came a point in time where you had to pivot. you know, So viewers out there, I tell you, if you want to be part of the conversation, I'll talk to the comments. I'll get you on. I'll put it up. Hey, Rachel. Now you specialize in various areas of law, such as real estate, family law, and other portions of law. I think it's about 4 different areas, maybe more than that. Hey, which one of the areas do you find that is most challenging? I know you love them all, but most challenging to you, and why?
Well, first, before I say that, I want to say my dad used to quote me that Robert Frost poem, or that all the time as a kid growing up. I mean, like, it was like my bedtime story, except he'd quote it. He still does. But we'll talk about law now. So I really love elder abuse and financial elder abuse conservatorships. I think that's a really fulfilling area of law. And so I don't know that it's the most challenging, but it's certainly the most rewarding for me at this point. Challenging, I don't really consider any area of law particularly challenging. I consider certain cases challenging, certain facts, fact patterns challenging. Probably the most challenging part of my job is really having clients understand the confines of the law, and that I don't make the laws. The judges don't, the superior court judges typically don't make the laws. Maybe the courts of higher courts do, but we're given a set of facts and we've got these laws. And how can I, as the attorney, make my client get as close as possible to their goal as I can, given the fact that I don't get to change what's already happened? And sometimes being able to align myself with my client so that we're on the same team and we both have the same understanding of our goals with realistic expectations, that's probably the most challenging part of law. But again, that is true, I would suspect, of every area of law that exists. It's certainly been true in every area that I have ever practiced.
So a lot of people, they go out, and I wouldn't say trouble or whatever that is, but they don't know when they need a lawyer. You know what I mean? So what are some of the things that you might tell our listeners and our viewers when they might need an attorney?
The most obvious is if you get served paperwork or you get arrested, right? We all know those things, but sometimes they can be forgotten. If you get served, whether you accept it in your hand or you throw up your hands and you say, I'm not going to touch it, I didn't get served. You got served and you want to talk to an attorney, because you want to know what you have to do, if anything. Ignoring a legal problem doesn't mean that it didn't occur or it goes away. It means you end up losing. So that's not a good idea. You have a constitutional right to due process. So invoke your constitutional right and pay attention. The other one is obviously if you're arrested, I would, get an attorney. Don't ever think that you're better than whoever is arresting you. That's not a good idea, especially if you haven't done anything wrong. Then you definitely want to talk to an attorney. But the more, the finer points when people, I think, should talk to an attorney that maybe go, that are not quite as obvious, are if you're starting a business, have a relationship with a business attorney. The last thing that you want is to open your company, get all of these clients, and not realize that you should have had a contract and now you've opened yourself up to some kind of liability you weren't aware of. It doesn't necessarily mean that you need to hire an attorney, but have a relationship with one, know who you would call, talk to an attorney. Anytime, family law is another one, anytime your rights are potentially at risk, whether that's child custody, property, anything, talk to an attorney. Again, it doesn't necessarily mean you need to hire one or you even need one, but knowledge is power. So go find out what is going on, find out what the laws are and what your options are so that you can make the best decision for you. Because truly that's what this is all about, is it's your life. At the end of the day, you need to know how to protect your life. And part of that is understanding what your rights are so that you can decide whether you're going to protect them or you're going to deviate a little bit.
I like what you said. You said it's your life. I think that's what you said.
You like how I put that in there right for you.
And you're absolutely right. And I want to say hello to the Coopers, Angel and Ed. They're going to be guests on the show hopefully real soon. But you're absolutely right. And, those things that you mentioned, especially, running from being served, people think that, okay, if they don't give it to me, that means it didn't happen. So
all the time I get stories that say, oh, I wasn't served. Somebody just came up and dropped it in my my grocery cart at the grocery store. And I'm like, yeah, no, you were served. Or I didn't answer the door, so they left it there, so I wasn't served. No, you were served. There was one, actually, my cousin was involved. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but I'll say it anyway. He was involved in suing Justin Bieber a while ago, and he ended up personally serving. It was very hard to serve Justin Bieber, so he ended up finding him at the beach and trying to hand him the paperwork, and Justin Bieber threw up his hands and said, I wasn't served. And it's like, yeah, you are, dude. You're served. And don't walk away from it. Pick it up later or something, but at least take the paperwork, because it doesn't go away.
It doesn't go away. A lot of people don't know the difference between litigation and mediation. Can you kind of explain that to our viewers and our listeners?
Absolutely. So litigation is maybe a fancy term for going to court over an argument, right? When you are in court to have the judge decide the answer to a problem, right? Two people disagree, then you are in litigation. And litigation can be, again, in family law court, it can be in criminal court, it can be in small claims court. If you are waiting in court or in that process to have a judge make a decision, you're in litigation. Mediation is an alternate dispute resolution, which we actually use within the litigation process. It can be used before litigation too, but it is where the two people that have this dispute come together with typically a neutral third party. Sometimes it can be a judge or a retired judge or an attorney or a trained mediator, to see if they can reach an agreement to either avoid future litigation or stop the litigation that's going on right now. It can be a huge time saver. It can be an emotional saver too. I think many people underestimate the emotional toll that a lawsuit takes on you. So it's a good thing, it's a good tool to have as if you're involved in a dispute, but it really requires both people to be willing to compromise. You're not going to be successful in mediation if either party comes in and says, yes, I want this to be done. Give me everything I want. No, that's why you're in litigation, is because that's what you're saying. So the only way to be successful in mediation is really to go in with an open mind, having your deal breakers and trying to see if there's a way to resolve it so that both parties can walk away.
Wow. So got some people out there asking, is it expensive to hire an attorney? Would you say that it depends on whatever type of thing that they're doing? That's what they asked. And so is it expensive to hire an attorney?
Well, yes. I mean, attorneys are expensive, but it does really come down to your case. There's certain kind of cases like personal injury that oftentimes you can find a contingency attorney that will get paid if they get paid. There are some cases that tend to be just frightfully expensive for an attorney to handle because of the amount of work that's involved. So that would cost more. Most attorneys charge hourly. So if you're hiring an attorney, you want to be aware of the hourly rate, also the increments that they bill at. But you want to really read your fee agreement, because if you're calling every day, that's probably going to make it more expensive. If you have unrealistic expectations, we talked a bit about this a little while ago, unrealistic expectations about what's going to happen, or you don't like the law, so you think you're going to be the one to change the law, then your case is going to be more expensive. If you want to change the law, you call your congressman. You don't take it to the superior court in most cases.
I like that. We got to take another station break, but this is so educational. We're going to take another station break, and we're going to come back. We're going to pick it up. Attorney Rachel King is putting it out there. She's putting it down. She's telling you the truth. And if you want to be part of the conversation, all you have to do, just go to whatever platform you're watching this on or listening to it on, and ask her any questions that you like. It's Your Life. I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley. We'll be back shortly after the break.
Noah Dingley here, producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And the new audio version of James' book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, is a must-have. James shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audiobooks are sold.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and you see, I'm tickled pink because I'm really enjoying this interview with Rachel King, and just some of the things that she laying out are so incredible, and she is doing a lot of great things. It's like I said, she wear a lot of different hats, but all of them, including wife and mother, but the hats are with the attorneys, and we all need great attorneys. We all need great attorneys like Rachel, So, I want to kick this one off, Rachel, with I watched a clip where you was on CBS News, and I want to play that real quick.
Life. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you think about caregivers are being hired to care for them. That is their job. But now they're seeing that they can take advantage of them.
Take advantage, but because they're providing this care, they're giving them their food, they're bathing them, they're also providing a companionship. Mm-hmm. There's a sense of trust that's built. And so our seniors are relying on this trusting relationship. I think they also have a sense of fear that if they don't sign the paperwork or make the agreement or give something to the caregiver they're asking for, they're not going to have the companionship. They're going to lose their caregiver. Maybe they are afraid they won't have groceries anymore. And so it's really devastating to see how caregivers in particular, but also family and friends, are able to use this trusting relationship to take advantage.
Wow, you talked about elderly abuse a few minutes ago, and I thought it was important that we show that one because that's a passion for you. Why did you choose? Had to be a certain reason. Like, okay, out of all of these hats I'm wearing, I got to make sure that I'm taking care of the senior community in the best way possible. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about that?
I kind of landed in it. When I first started practicing, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was told that you should have a niche, and I hated that idea of having one area. I like to diversify, and so I tried a lot of areas. I actually didn't think I was going to enjoy elder law. Somebody suggested it, and my first reaction was, oh God, that sounds awful. I want to stay away from it. But through my family law experience and through some of the other areas that I was practicing, I was provided an opportunity to take a case that involved a senior. At the same time, my grandmother was in an assisted living, and I was seeing a lot of what was going on there. My own family had brought some concerns that they had with regard to her caregivers. So it kind of all came together, and I learned that this was really kind of a problem. And I was watching people, seniors, a senior is somebody who's over 65, their houses just being taken away, and they served eviction notices, but they didn't realize what was happening. They didn't know that they signed these documents, and now they're getting evicted from their house, but they paid off and they have no way to get another one, or money just leaving, giving it away. And I thought, that is horrible. How can we stop it, and what can we do about it? I obviously, as an attorney, am fortunate that when I get to have a case like this, I'm provided an end game, so I can help. But really, I think through this, it's caused me to realize that this is not an area of law that people are really even comfortable talking about, admitting. Most people are very unaware that this even exists. We're familiar with, domestic violence and child abuse, but we're less aware that our senior population that's really growing is also huge victims. And unfortunately, they don't have not that abuse is ever okay, but they don't have the time to make up for it, whether that's emotionally heal, financially heal. They don't have it. They're at the end of their life. So I just really enjoy it, and I like educating about it, and I like spreading the knowledge. And then when I am lucky enough to work on a case, I really like being able to help restore the individual to whatever as close as they could come to how they were before.
Wow, that is so noble, and that is a calling, because we need more, certainly more attorneys like you, Rachel. We certainly need more attorneys like you. We've got about 4 minutes left, but Fire and Life Talk asked a question, because we was talking about the cost of an attorney. So other than the cost, what factors should we consider when hiring a lawyer?
Hands down, my answer will never change. I get asked this a lot, and that is that you trust your attorney. There are tons of great attorneys out there, and there are tons of bad attorneys out there. But it doesn't matter if you are paying the most amount of money for the best lawyer that exists on planet Earth at the time. If you don't trust what they're telling you, it's useless. You need to find an attorney that you trust, so that when they give you advice that you're paying for, you want to follow it. If you aren't willing to follow your attorney's advice, it's time to find a new attorney. That's probably the most important factor that I think people look for. And if you've hired an attorney and you've reached a point where you no longer do trust them, it's time to find a new attorney.
Wow, Rachel, you and your family, you guys do so much back in the green room, in the communities, especially with, you talked about kids filing for college and this and that, and not able to pay the application fees and a lot of other things. Could you tell our viewers and our listeners a little bit about some of the things that Rachel King does in the community to give other people a chance to get especially educated if they wanted to do that?
Yes, so I think that there's a huge gap. I noticed a gap a few years ago with the application fees. There's scholarships for tuition, there's scholarships for room and board, there's lots of scholarships, but that all happens after somebody's admitted to a certificate program or a degree program or a university. So my husband and I started a nonprofit organization that specifically helps college-bound seniors or high school seniors that are moving on to some kind of certificate or trade school with their application fees. It's one of the things that I found people don't consider. The students don't consider it. The families don't consider how they're going to pay for these costs. So I don't want anybody to feel that they can't pursue their passions, or even if it's not a passion, just a way to become self-supporting because they couldn't get in. So we have a nonprofit organization that will provide application scholarships so that they can apply.
Wow, we're down to the last minute of the show. I tell you out there, if you need a great attorney, especially in the Southern California, and not just that, but Texas, Kentucky, and where else you practicing?
Arizona and California, yes.
Arizona and California. You might want to look up Rachel King. Rachel, how could if somebody wanted to reach out to you real quickly, how could they get in touch with you?
I'm on all of the socials at The Lawyer King. You can find me on the web at The Lawyer King, or you can call or text me. The numbers also on all of those locations, and they come to my cell phone. So reach out, say hi. Wow.
I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show today. It's just been an absolute pleasure. And I would love to have you back again one of these days if your time permit. So thank you. I'd like to thank Dr. Michelle Cooley for putting together another absolutely fantastic show. But most importantly, I'd like to thank our viewers and listeners for tuning in to the James Cooley Show. It's your life on Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Always dream big, think big, and be big. And also go out and buy my book. It's out there, just was released yesterday. A Black Man Point of View, Mind, Body, and Soul. Dream big, think big, and be big at everything that you do. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. It's your life.